Laura here. I'm here today to do my October reading wrap up. I'm doing this a little bit early. I might still read the book that I'm reading and read another one. But I wanted to put this out there so I knew this month was chaotic at best. I started the month recovering from my road trip that had a lot of complications. I went to Comic-Con, which was a blast, and you should definitely check out my haul videos. I started on Instagram. I had a bad cold. I fell off my bicycle. So it was a really chaotic month. And I did a bunch of stuff for grad school because I'm in my last semester with EdTPA and stuff. So it's been a really, really chaotic month. But I my parents talking and did not want you guys to hear their conversation because it's not that interesting. But so I wound up completing reading 9 books, and I finished listening to an audiobook. So I wanted to just chat about those. So the first book that I finished reading was The Last Namasera by Christina Cicerelia. Don't know how to pronounce that, but here's a picture of the book. And I really enjoyed it. I gave this book, I think I gave it like 5 stars on Goodreads. I would say maybe like 4.5 stars. I thought it was a really interesting book, and I loved the premise, and I thought it had a lot of unexpected twists and turns. I thought the pacing was really good, and I liked how because I didn't go into the story loving the main character, but I grew to really like her by the end of the book. I think that of the 2 dragon novels I read recently, I really did like Before She Ignites, so I think Before She Ignites is still probably my favorite. I'll definitely do a wrap up of Before She Ignites once I finish Wild Beauty, because those are both Owlcray books. But overall, I really liked it. It's definitely a book I would definitely recommend you would have to read again before book 2 comes out. But I overall really loved it. I love the progression of the character. I thought that the world building was really spectacular, and I thought that, again, the way that the book twisted and turned was really, really interesting. And it was a really, really quick read as well. And I really liked it. So be sure to go check out my blog post about it, and I will hopefully get to a video wrap up when I'm done with Wild Beauty. And then the next book I found up finishing reading was The Darkest Mind by Mindy McGinnis. This is another book that I got from Edelweiss, so thank you again, Edelweiss. And I will attach a picture here. Before, I have a very hard time reading books that have unlikable characters that really don't have a lot of redeeming qualities, and I really did feel like I could not connect to this character at all. And I think that that was kind of the point of Mindy McGinnis's books, especially her contemporary books. I read another one, her historical fiction books, A Madness So Discreet, and I kind of felt the same way about the lead character in that, but I definitely liked her more. I really did not like the main character in this story either. I thought that it was a really interesting concept, but I had a hard time connecting myself to the character. And I thought the book was going to go like one direction, and then it went like a totally different direction. And I just was like, I don't know what's going on. I did give it 3 stars. I'm happy that I finished it because I think that it was an interesting novel, a very, very like harsh look at this character. And I'm just not sure I got around to the point of liking her. I don't think that was the point of it. I just was not as captured by her, and I kept really being on everyone else's side whenever something would happen. I was just like, I just agree with this person. I don't agree with the lead. And it's sometimes like a hard place to be in when you're reading books with unlikable narrators. But I did give it 3 stars, and I did do a book review if you guys want to go check that out on my blog. It was probably one of my least favorite books this month, but that might have just been my reading mentality at the moment. But I am excited to read A Female of the Species and Mindy McGinnis fantasy series. I'm excited to see what she does with books that are not contemporary. But yeah, so those were my thoughts on Darkest Mind. The next book I read was actually during Comic Con, and it is The Darkening Wicked Willow season book 1. This is a part of like a quartet basically, and this is a different version of events that happens in the TV show. And I really did like this. I thought it was super interesting, and I like this book solely because it's not bound by canon. So they literally could do anything in this book series. Like, they didn't have to worry about actors' availability or who they got back and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed it, and I was really impressed by it. And I hope to read book 2 hopefully next month. And then the next book that I read was my most exciting pick that I got from New York City Comic Con, and that's Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This book comes out November 7th. I really recommend this book. I gave this book 5 stars. I was so excited about it, and I really enjoyed it. I did a full blog review, and I also did a book review, so go check that out on my channel. It was such a fun read. I really loved both characters that we got to meet, and I loved the world that we met, and I loved what it said about villains and heroes, and I just really loved it. So if I would definitely dive into this in November. If you like anything by Marissa Meyer, I think you will definitely love this book. It's definitely a book that takes a while to build the world, but I would not call it like a slow novel. It took a while to get there. The ending was spectacular. I need to know what happens next. I have to wait a year. I'm not okay with that. But overall, I'm really impressed. Go check out my review and go check out my book talk where I talk a little bit more about it in detail. But I give it 5 stars. If you are a big fan of the Lunateer Chronicles or anything with superheroes, you will definitely want to check this out come November. The library book, and it is the final book in the Heist Society series called Perfect Scoundrel. The last book in the series. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I can't talk much about it because it's the last book in the series. But recently I read her Gallagher Girl series, and her first book did not impress me all that much. But I have heard that that series gets better, and after reading this book, I realized why I love this book series so much, because Kat is just kick-ass amazing. And I really loved it. I love Kat, and I love her male love interest, and I love just the crew. I really liked heist novels, is what I have learned throughout this series, and I hope to read more heist novels in the future. But I really loved it. I love the conclusion. I know that there's a novella that I was told that I must read that I bought on my Kindle recently. So that will also be a book that I wind up reading, hopefully around Christmas time, because it's like Christmas themed. But I really loved it, and I really love this series. This is probably definitely my favorite Ally Carter series. I did enjoy her Ember Sea Rose series, but this is definitely this is definitely my favorite series that I've read by her so far. Might change with Gallagher Girls, but so far I really loved it, and I was so happy that I finally got to finish it as well. And then the next book that I read was another book that I picked up from Bob BloggerCon in June, and that's The Wood by Chelsea Bobolesky. I gave this book 4 stars. Did do a complete review and a video review, so go check that out. Follows this girl named Winter, and when her father goes missing, she has to unexpectedly become the guardian of their wood near their house. And the wood is a mystical place that has fabrics of times that open, and people from other times and places get sucked in, and Winter's job to get them back to their supposed place. But when she encounters a young man named Henry who won't go back to his home time, they have to work together to figure out what is happening to her wood. It was definitely a creepy book. I wouldn't say it was scary, but it was actually a really good book to read like right around Halloween, so I was really excited about that. But go check out my review if you want more information. But it was really good, and I will definitely read more by this author in the future. I did feel the ending was a tad rushed, but overall I really liked it. Creepy books, I finally picked up Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I actually met her at Boston Teen Book Festival, and I really loved her. And I heard that this book was really good, but I've heard Haunting Prince Dracula is even better. So might not happen next month, or it might. It just depends on how fast I read. But I was really like this book. I don't think I did a book review chat about this yet, but I will when I finish Haunting Prince Dracula. But I really love this. I loved Audrey so much in this series, and I loved the man that she bumped heads with, and I just loved the unexpected twists and turns in this book. I loved the time period, and I loved how they represented the case of Jack the Ripper, because I thought that it's always been a case that has intrigued me so far, and I just really loved it. It was also like a really quick read, and they do have some, like, I don't know if this is in the hardback because this is an ARC, but they do have some pictures that correspond with the story. So I really did like it, and I'm so excited to read Haunting Prince Dracula, and I highly recommend this. I gave this book 4.5 stars. You should definitely go check it out. It's a perfect fall read as well. As I said on Instagram, in all my fall foliage pictures that had this book and a bunch of other creepy reads as well. And then the next book that I read was a book that I got at New BookCon, where I actually met Kristen Ritter. And this is Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. This book comes out the beginning of November, and it was like a psychological mystery. I wound up giving it like 3.5 stars. I would recommend if you are not totally sure about this book. I thought that the writing was really well done. The story was really well done. She is somewhat of an unlikable character, and the pacing of the novel was a little bit like clunky, but I really did like what she was trying to do, and I did feel that the ending was like a little bit rushed. But overall, I really did enjoy it, and I would love to see what she writes next because I think that she's actually a really, really good author. I would caution you that if you are going to read this, just know that you're probably going to view her as the character because it's a very, very Jessica Ritter type character, that who this character is. But overall, I really did enjoy it, and I hope that you will give it a shot. And the last book that I finished reading in the month of October was Have Sword Will Travel by Garth Nix and Sean Williams, and this doesn't come out until October 31st. It is a middle grade novel about Odo and Eleanor as they're wandering around their town. This is a medieval set novel. They wind up coming across a sword that talks to them, and they have to go on this unexpected adventure. Odo is chosen to be a knight when Eleanor's dream is to be a knight. So they have to deal with their own hesitancies in this world. But I really liked it. I thought it was so cute. And I really loved Odo and Eleanor. And I cannot wait to see what happens in the sequel, which we have been promised we're getting. It is so fun. And if you're just looking for a really, really quick, fun read, I really recommend it. It was really, really fun. And I wound up giving it like 4 stars. And the last book that I started reading, and I have like 100 pages left, is Wild Beauty by Anne Marie McLemore. Sorry, my cover is somewhere else. But this is, spoiler alert, this is the Owl Crate book for the month of October, and I've really fell behind on Owl Crate books, but I've been trying to read the books monthly, so I will eventually get to my backlog. So far, it's really interesting. I would say it's a very interesting witch novel. It's not what I was expecting, and her writing is very, very, like, lyrical, and I know some people don't like that, but I actually really do like it, and it's like a witch-based novel, which I've been in the mood to read. So this is what I'm in the middle. I hope to definitely finish this by the end of the month, which is why I wanted to wait to do my video, but I just wanted to do it now while I had some time. So those are all the books that I finished reading in October. I do hope to maybe read one more book before the month ends, but I'll just tell you about that in my November wrap-up. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Let me know in the comments what is the most exciting book that you read this month, and what are you looking forward to reading in November. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!